back here on First Take. The NFL heads overseas again. This weekend it's going to Dublin for the first time.
Wow.
Where the Vikings will take on the Steelers. Dave Pasch not on the call. Aaron Rodgers is 17-12-1 in his career against the Vikings, including the playoffs.
You saw Pasch is not on that call?
I don't think so. Yeah. But he's just 2-4 in his last 6 games against Minnesota, going back to that 22-20 season. Swagu, is Rodgers the biggest key for the Steelers here against the Vikings?
No, it's their defense. Carson Wentz actually played really well in Kevin O'Connell's offense, but this defense came alive. 5 turnovers last week. The stars made plays, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt. They intercepted the ball almost at the goal line, caused a fumble at the goal line against the New England Patriots. So I think this defense, because here's the thing we said about Aaron Rodgers. If he turned into being great, it would have been a great story. But they just needed some consistency at the position, because we thought the defense would carry Pittsburgh majority of the way anyway. I know I came into the season saying if you can give them 21 points, 24 points a game, which I think Aaron Rodgers is still capable of, this defense should be able to shut the door on a lot of people. They got back to that with New England. I think they are the most important part. And if they continue to play like that, and I'm not saying get 5 turnovers, but if you see the level of play get back to where they usually are, it's a playoff team.
Yeah, I think it's Wentz, because I think Rodgers will play decently all year. I think he'll have his moments where he's a little better than that, and maybe other moments like Seattle where he's a little worse than that. I think Rodgers, he's an improvement over Wilson. I think he'll be pretty good. I don't think he won't be great, won't be like he was 10 years ago. He'll be pretty good. And I think he'll be better against Minnesota. Remember last year he threw that bad interception with the Jets, and they lost the game. But I do think Wentz, who had 5 turnovers to work with, they scored 48 points. The Bengals were terrible. He didn't have to do a lot. This game he's going to have to do a little more, and I'm not sure if Wentz is capable of doing that. So I think the game is a little bit more on Carson Wentz.
I think, you could say that. I'm going to say this. It's on the Steelers' defense. Because if Carson Wentz goes out there and picks you apart, we got a problem. Now, I'm not enamored with what I see from the Steelers' defense. Rodgers is second in the league in touchdown passes at 7, only behind Lamar Jackson, who's at 9. But if you look at him, in a clean pocket, he's completing 78% of his passes. Under duress, it's 27%. He's not doing much. Brian Flores knows that, and Brian Flores is going to bring the rain, okay?
Yep.
So I don't expect the Steelers' offense to do much in this particular game. It should be a very low-scoring game, because the Vikings' defense could help to assist in neutralizing the Pittsburgh Steelers. DK Metcalf can't get open for some reason. Calvin Austin III, you need another receiver, okay? Bottom line, Freiermuth and Smith at the tight end spot, you expected more from them. You can still utilize them. That's a Rodgers security blanket, but still in all, you need more from them offensively, because Warren is not a bell cow running back. He's gifted, but he's not a bell cow. It's going to come down. I don't expect much from their offense. It's going to come down to the defense. And if Carson Wentz goes out on that field and picks you apart, I will completely lose all faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I don't give a damn where the game is.
Agreed.
You better show up. And because Minnesota's defense is going to show up. What are you going to do if you're the Steelers' defense? That's the story of this game.
I would add this. Mr. Rooney was an ambassador to Ireland. There is a huge Irish contingent of Steelers fans.
Oh, that'd be a Steeler fan base.
This might be one of those where it feels like a Steelers home game. I'm saying, Rodgers and that defense, they have nothing to complain about by going overseas. This is on them to take care of business.
Yeah. Got it. I got it. All right. You got it.
Steelers Nation, let's talk about the one wide receiver who checks the most boxes for Pittsburgh right now. The one name that keeps surfacing among league insiders as both realistic and impactful. Jakobi Meyers of the Las Vegas Raiders. If you've watched the first 3 weeks, you know exactly why this matters. DK Metcalf is drawing top-shelf coverage, the offense is living on razor-thin margins in the pass game, and the third-down operation needs a chain mover Rodgers can trust without a second thought. Meyers is that profile to the letter. A precise route runner who plays through contact, wins leverage in the short and intermediate windows, and stacks efficient targets without drama. And unlike some of the splashier rumor names, the stars actually align here. Contract mechanics, Raiders depth chart dynamics, and Steelers scheme fit to make a midseason move plausible rather than just message board fantasy. Start with the money and the leverage. Meyers is playing the 2025 season on the 3rd year of his Raiders deal. Importantly, multiple reports this summer noted there's no guaranteed money left in 2025, with a base salary around $10.5 million and a cap hit just under $15 million. That structure is exactly what you want if you're the acquiring team. Las Vegas has flexibility, Pittsburgh can absorb the prorated remainder, and there's no future guarantee handcuffing either side. Just a veteran wideout you can bring in, evaluate for the stretch run, and then extend or let walk based on performance and price. That clarity is rare at this position midseason, and it matters at the deadline. Now pivot to the Raiders' depth chart and the emerging context in Vegas. While Meyers started fast again, he's been one of the league's most quietly consistent receivers for 4 straight years. The Raiders have seen third-year speedster Trey Tucker pop in a huge way, including a Week 3 eruption that immediately raised the "who's expendable" question in their room. Local and national write-ups have underlined how Tucker's separation and production cracked the rotation wide open. When a younger, cheaper vertical slot starts eating high-value looks, a veteran like Meyers, who reportedly sought an extension and even lodged a trade request late August, becomes a textbook candidate for a contender to pry loose. Add in the optics of a tough Raiders start, and it's not hard to envision Las Vegas listening on offers designed around picks and cap relief. Timing favors Pittsburgh, too. The NFL trade deadline lands on Tuesday, November 4 this year. Just enough runway to evaluate your own room during the Ireland trip, come out of the bye, and strike before the clock hits 4 p.m. ET. If the Steelers like what they see from their core, but still need a steadier wide receiver too, the calendar is perfect for a surgical, needs-based addition rather than a panic swing. The case for Meyers on the field is as clean as it gets. In 2024, he set career highs in catches, 87, and yards, 1,027. And in 2025, he came out of the gates again as a high-volume, high-utility target, 17 receptions for 228 yards through 3 weeks. A stat line that speaks to down-to-down value, not empty splash. He's never needed manufactured looks to produce. He thrives on NFL tempo timing routes, digs, option breaks, and boundary comebacks that play directly into Rodgers' pre-snap control and ball placement. He has lived his career as a quarterback's best friend receiver, where the QB knows exactly where he'll be and when, and can trust the hands at the catch point to finish the down. If you're building a late-season identity around efficiency, field position, and red zone execution, Meyers is oxygen. Fit matters, and this is where Pittsburgh's offensive framework sharpens the argument. Arthur Smith's system prizes condensed splits, play-action crossers, and in-breaking concepts that punish zone while still letting you isolate favorable matchups on third and manageable. He wants receivers who block with purpose, snap routes with exactness, and can be motioned into leverage without tipping the play. Meyers' tape is practically a teaching clinic for those details. He's a natural in the slot, but can operate from Z or X in reduced splits, which means you can keep DK on his most dangerous landmarks and still get the route inventory you want underneath. And because Meyers wins with pacing and positioning instead of pure 4.3 juice, his game travels. Cold weather, tight windows, playoff football. None of that scares him. The OC piece is settled. Pittsburgh brought him here to stabilize the offense in precisely these ways, and Meyers looks like someone he'd plug and play on Wednesday and trust on Sunday. There's also a subtle but important advantage in how Meyers would change coverage math for DK Metcalf. Right now, defenses can tilt help toward the big man on key downs and dare the rest of the room to beat man or when hot off pressure. Meyers bends that dare. If you give him off coverage, he'll take 6 and set up 2nd and 4. If you press and miss with no help, he stacks contact and converts. If you bracket DK on 3rd down, the auction tree for Rodgers expands quickly. Pivot, short sit, delay, or shallow that turns into yak because the landmark is perfect. That's how you get defenses out of comfortable calls without a single trick play. It's not sexy, it's sustainable. The trade compensation discussion is where front offices earn their keep, but even there, the tea leaves are favorable. With no guarantees left and a summer extension standoff in the background, the Raiders' leverage isn't absolute. A package built around a 2026 Day 3 pick that can escalate with playtime and team performance is the kind of framework we've seen for veteran pass catchers whose contracts are clean but whose clubs are straddling the line between retooling and competing. It's speculation, yes, but it's informed speculation, based on how similar deals have looked the past few deadlines and on the specific leverage points in this case. Of course, there are risks, and we should be honest about them. Meyers isn't a pure lid lifter, so if your vision of WR2 is Tyreek-style gravity, this isn't that. Touchdowns can be streaky. He's not a double-digit TD profile by default. And because he wins with nuance, Timing with a new quarterback is not entirely plug and play. But the counter is exactly why he's attractive. He has produced in multiple systems, he has been relentlessly durable and available, and his floor outcome still stabilizes what Pittsburgh needs stabilized: possession downs, spacing, and pro-level execution when defenses start sending the kitchen sink at Rodgers. His early season usage speaks to form rather than projection, and his 2024 was not a one-off. It was a culmination of steady year-over-year growth. The Vegas side dynamics could even accelerate the timeline. If Trey Tucker continues to command high-value targets and the Raiders take on water over the next couple of weeks, a front office interested in flipping a veteran for capital while featuring the ascending youngster will at least listen. It's the exact market inefficiency a contender leverages. You're not buying the brand, you're buying the next 8 to 12 games of premium down-to-down football. And in this league, where a single third down conversion can swing win probability 5 or 6 points, those snaps matter. The Washington area and Vegas outlets already spotlighted Tucker's Week 3 breakout and how that shifted attention inside their passing game. If that continues, Pittsburgh's phone call becomes less hypothetical and more practical. From the Steelers' perspective, the opportunity cost is straightforward. You're not blocking a young homegrown wide receiver 2 from emerging, because that player isn't fully established yet. You're not adding volatility to the locker room. You're not inflating the cap with multi-year guarantees. You're injecting a proven, culture-fit professional into a room that needs an adult on third down and a North Star on option routes. If he hits, you have re-sign rights and continuity into 2026. If he's merely solid, you rented exactly what you needed for a playoff push and reassess when the market reopens. That kind of asymmetric risk-reward is what patient contenders hunt in October. Zoom out and the trend lines are telling. Meyers' 4-year production arc, 800-plus yards every season, volume resilience across quarterback variability, and clear third down utility pairs with the 2025 snapshot we already have. Still winning, still efficient, still the same high-floor player that lets the rest of your offense breathe. If you want Rodgers to operate the full menu, hard count freebies, late play checks, leverage throws on money downs, then you need a receiver who speaks that language at game speed. Meyers does. So here's the bottom line for Steelers Nation Wire, cut to the core and said plainly. Of all the rumored names, Jakobi Meyers is the most attainable, the most scheme-clean, the least noisy off the field, and the most directly helpful to what Pittsburgh actually needs to start stacking grown man drives. The contract invites a call, the Raiders' depth chart invites a call, the calendar invites a call, and the tape screams that if this front office wants a no-nonsense wide receiver 2 who tilts third downs and lets DK hunt, this is the move that maximizes the offense now without mortgaging the next 18 months. If the Steelers make one deadline addition at receiver, this is the one that makes them better the moment he lands at the Southside facility. And if they stand down, it won't be because the fit wasn't right, it'll be because the price got silly. Until then, this is the veteran target that deserves to be at the top of the board. What do you think, Steelers Nation? Does Jakobi Meyers feel like the right move at the right time? And what would you be willing to give up to make it happen? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if you believe this is the cleanest wide receiver 2 solution for a playoff push, and subscribe to Steelers Nation Wire so we can ride together through every rumor, every whisper, and, if the front office pulls the trigger, every first down he moves in black and gold.